Tonight, folks in Florida brace for the worst.
You need to be out of the evacuation zone. This storm is a serious storm.
The latest on when and where Hurricane Milton is expected to hit. Plus, as Hezbollah vows to displace more Israelis with missile strikes.
I like the Holocaust, we fight back, and we're fighting like lions.
Prime Minister Netanyahu pledges to carry on with the mission to take out terrorists targeting Israel. And as the Supreme Court kicks off a new term this week, we break down some of the biggest cases the justices will decide. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. Hurricane Milton closing in on Florida tonight, threatening to bring catastrophic flooding less than 2 weeks after Helene. Good evening in Washington, I'm Jenna Browder. Now an intense Category 4 storm with 150-mile-per-hour winds. Milton poses massive and historic storm surge threats along Florida's Gulf Coast. And tonight there are calls for widespread evacuations. CBN Washington correspondent Michelle London has been tracking Milton's path and joins us now with the latest. Michelle?
Well, Jenna, good evening. This latest storm is expected to make landfall late tomorrow with a life-threatening storm surge that could reach up to 15 feet. President Biden from the White House today urged residents under evacuation orders to get out now.
This is going to be wind, water, storm surge, rain, you name it. It's going to bring everything towards our community.
I want to reassure you all, but I can't reassure you during those peak periods if you're not evacuating.
Urgent warnings Tuesday from Tampa's mayor and chief of police as residents brace for what could be a once-in-a-lifetime storm. Hurricane Milton remains extremely powerful and could double in size before slamming into west central Florida from late Wednesday into early Thursday. A major lingering concern left behind by Helene is dangerous debris piled up along coastal communities, leading state leaders to order landfills open around the clock. Millions across Florida filling sandbags as they try to prepare for what's coming.
Well, we had water the last hurricane, so we decided we want to fix this problem this time. So we decided we needed sandbags to try to stop this, which is supposed to be even a worse storm than last time.
That's why evacuation orders are so strong and could result in major consequences if warnings are ignored.
I cannot send my officers out in the peak of this storm. We will not be able to respond. Our officers need to be safe and sound and ready for our recovery efforts.
Shelves in grocery stores and gas at the pumps are reportedly running low as people stock up on supplies. Airports in Tampa and Orlando shut down Tuesday, while schools closed in at least 20 counties. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis posting to X that the state's emergency management crews continue to fulfill resource requests for communities in the potential path of the storm. President Biden says he's communicating with DeSantis and Tampa's mayor from the White House.
I made it clear to them they should reach out, including to me directly, with everything else they may need as they see this storm hit.
Biden expects cleanup efforts from Hurricane Milton to leave behind billions of dollars more worth of damage. And Governor DeSantis continues to post updates for residents on his X account. He says the state has deployed thousands of guardsmen and dozens of aircraft, so they're in place for search, rescue, and response efforts. More than 3,700 linemen are on standby to restore power as swiftly and safely as possible after the storm passes. Jenna.
All right, Michelle, thank you. While Florida braces for Milton, churches are giving comfort and relief to the victims of Hurricane Helene. CBN's Brody is on the ground in western North Carolina, where church bodies spent Sunday worshiping together, leaning on faith to help the community endure.
God is on the move here in North Carolina. Behind me is just one of several praise and worship events taking shape throughout the state. This is Hendersonville High School football field, and it's open to people of all faiths and denominations. But specifically, it's an opportunity to share that despite the storms in this life, we find our strength in God.
In the midst of disaster, the way that we make it through is that we must hope in God and we must help each other.
Thousands have lost power and have no access to food or clean water. Some have lost everything.
We were 15 feet away from being crushed, leaving our 2 kids, and God knows what would have happened to them.
Aaron and Larissa Smith were airlifted from their neighborhood after a boulder crashed into their home. All they and their 2 children have left is their dog and a suitcase.
To be able to celebrate family and community and God's faithfulness is it's a unique blessing.
Just north of Asheville, Brookstone Church in Weaverly held a service on the campus of Mars Hill University. The congregation offering comfort, hope, and strength to a community that's reeling from the devastation.
People are asking a lot of questions they weren't asking 9 days ago. And so it is, man, it levels things, doesn't it?
Like First Baptist Hendersonville, Brookstone is a hub for distributing food and other necessities to victims of the storm. They say people want to connect with others, find purpose in the tragedy, and experience the love of God.
There is a hope that is felt, it is tangible here in these communities, and for those that don't believe in Christ, they are seeing the hope of Christ in 4K right in front of them as their neighbors go out and are pouring into one another.
CBN's Operation Blessing International is on the ground, staged in Asheville's Home Depot parking lot, making and serving thousands of meals every day and giving away water and other supplies. OB teams have even flown into remote neighborhoods to deliver clean water and clean the shoes on their feet.
A lot of the time we just use that hot meal, that water, that bucket with supplies as an excuse sometimes, just to be there for the people that need it. But what is that? That's gonna last maybe a day. But for us, it's more important to present Jesus.
Reporting in Western North Carolina, Brody Carter, CBN News.
Thank you, Brody. And as we await Milton, CBN's Operation Blessing continues working to bring aid to the hardest hit victims of Helene. To learn more about its work and how to find out how you can help, please visit ob.org. All right, turning now to the Middle East, the war between Israel and Hezbollah is escalating as Israeli warplanes pound Beirut. The IDF confirmed today it killed Hassan Nasrallah's successor. The former leader of Hezbollah was slain last month during an airstrike in Beirut. The death of Nasrallah's replacement marks another major blow to the terror group.
We've degraded Hezbollah's capabilities. We took out thousands of terrorists, including Nasrallah himself, and Nasrallah's replacement, and the replacement of his replacement. Today, Hezbollah is weaker than it's been for many, many years.
For the first time today, Hezbollah said it was open to ceasefire talks. This as Israel said the group fired more than 100 rockets at Haifa and Galilee. Meanwhile, heavy fighting is underway in northern Gaza, where Israel has issued new evacuation orders. The IDF says it killed around 20 terrorists today. Hamas health officials say 2 women and 4 children were killed in the fighting. As the war in Gaza rages on, Israel is still reeling from October 7th. The ideological roots of Hamas's massacre are found inside the group's charter. As CBN's Dale Hurd explains, the document is the terror group's blueprint for the ultimate destruction of Israel.
No one who has read the Hamas Charter should be surprised by the slaughter that took place October 7th. Created at the terror group's founding, it states that Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it.
Genocide of Jews.
Jonathan Conricus is a former IDF spokesman and a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies.
The Hamas Charter is a charter to perform genocide against Israelis and to annihilate the state of Israel as we know it.
It's full of references to the destruction of Israel.
Hillel Frisch is a senior researcher at the Jerusalem Institute for Security and Strategy.
The document has one very specific purpose, and that is to call for the destruction of the state of Israel, to organize all Muslims for that purpose, and create a military terrorist force.
An offshoot of Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood, the name Hamas is an Arabic acronym for Islamic Resistance Movement. Its original charter reads like something written in Nazi Germany. Article 22 says of Jews, with their money they took control of the world media, news agencies, the press, publishing houses, broadcasting stations, and others. The document blames Jews for the French and Communist revolutions, World Wars I and II, and states Jews created the United Nations to enable them to rule the world. There is no war going on anywhere, the document reads, without having Jews' finger in it. The charter even blames Jews for the creation of the Rotary and Lions clubs, which Hamas apparently sees as sinister forces. The document also quotes from the Quran and from a Muslim hadith. The day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight Jews and kill them. Then the Jews will hide behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees will cry out, "O Muslim, there is a Jew hiding behind me. Come and kill him." Hamas issued a revised charter in 2017, which softened some of the original's violent and anti-Semitic rhetoric. However, Conricus says the October 7th massacre exposed the revised charter as a fraud.
All that was a smokescreen, and Hamas very cleverly misled Israeli decision makers until they revealed what their real intentions were, and they did that on October the 7th.
Article 13 in the original charter rejects any negotiated settlement and says the only solution for the Palestinian question is jihad, holy war. Frisch says the dilemma over negotiating with Hamas is that it would likely allow the group to remain in power.
And within 2-3 years, they'll be exactly at the same point as they were on October 6th, the day before the slaughter.
Hopefully, in the future, there will be peace to be made with the Palestinians. Many Israelis want to make peace with the Palestinians. Israel has tried, but there's no peace to be made with Hamas.
That's because the Hamas Charter forbids peace until Israel is destroyed. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Thank you, Dale. And coming up, the Supreme Court back in session. A look at this term's most important cases. Welcome back. The Supreme Court is kicking off its latest term this week, and already justices are set to decide the future of ghost guns in America. These are homemade firearms created by assembling pieces sold separately or in a kit. The weapons don't have serial numbers, making them virtually untraceable. Today, the justices heard arguments in a case challenging federal regulations imposed by the Biden administration. They require companies to do a background check and verify potential ghost gun buyers are over 21, as well as mark their products with serial numbers. Gun rights groups say the rules are unconstitutional because weapons kits do not meet the legal definition of a firearm. In today's oral arguments, the justices appeared skeptical of this argument.
I think that you can recognize that something is a weapon even if it's non-functional, if it is clear from objective evidence.
No, I think that certainly is true from the face of the statute, because it has to be, it's sufficient if it's capable of being converted into something that can expel a projectile.
And according to government figures, the number of ghost guns recovered by police increased more than 1,000% from 2017 to 2021. The Supreme Court could make a ruling in this case by early next year. Christy Compagnani joins us now. She is the Senior Managing Counsel with the American Center for Law and Justice. Christy, welcome. Great to see you. So let's start with this. We'll talk about some of the biggest cases this term, but let's start with this ghost gun case. Can you break it down for us? What's at stake here?
Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to the agency, they've used this rule to essentially criminalize ghost guns by walking around the statute that Congress has already authorized. And so I think there's a bit of concern on whether you believe in ghost guns should be regulated or not. I think the bigger concern, at least on our end, is whether Congress has given the authority to the agency to regulate this as criminal actions. In fact, the Congress has specific definitions for firearms within the statute. And so it really comes down to, can this agency go ahead and amend their rule to include these homemade parts of guns under the definition of firearms? So in terms of, is this the proper legislative channel, the proper route to go about challenging this by giving this power to a federal agency as opposed to Congress, who should have that authority?
Another case facing the court is United v. Scrimeti. This is, of course, a Tennessee bill that bans gender-affirming medical treatments for transgender minors. Christy, what do you know about this case and how significant is it?
So in this case, we have the DOJ has intervened along with the private individuals that are challenging Tennessee's prohibition on gender-affirming care for minors, and they're claiming that it's a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. So here, Tennessee is stating that it's protecting children from permanent and potentially harmful medical procedures, and that a lot of these procedures are experimental, and we don't know what the effects will be down the road. Whereas the DOJ is relying on the case of Bostock of the Supreme Court, which had made it illegal to discriminate on transgender status in places of employment under Title VII. So they're trying to apply that same rule from Bostock under Title VII now to the equal protection of the Constitution. So in this instance, Tennessee is arguing that it doesn't discriminate based on transgender status. And also, in the context of the wider abortion context, we've had a long history of protecting minors from making reversible medical decisions. So why wouldn't that same rule apply here? They're not being treated differently for any reason other than the fact that it's their age.
Yeah, we're watching that one closely for sure. Another one to watch closely, Coalition Life v. Carbondale. It has to do with abortion and free speech. What can you tell us about that case, Christy?
Well, what's very interesting is right now the court hasn't finished granting all of its cert petitions. So this one is still going to be in conference. And there's another one that's kind of like a partner case called Turco v. City of Englewood, New Jersey. And both of those are looking at the question of whether the court should overrule Hill v. Colorado. So these are all situations where you have protesters protesting abortion going outside of the abortion clinics. And in Hill v. Colorado, which was where there's a floating bubble, is what they call it, around the individuals who are going into these clinics, whether you're able to approach them and talk to them about their choices and counsel them and give them tracts. So it was decided many years ago in Hill v. Colorado that those bubbles you're allowed to prohibit people from entering the bubble.
Yep.
However, here in Coalition Life, it's re-challenging that because in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health, the court had held that was a distortion of the First Amendment doctrine. So
Christy, I have to. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're about out of time, but we want to thank you so much for coming on, Christy, and getting your expertise on these cases that we'll be watching so closely. Christy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And up next, the battle for America's vote, the latest on the race for the White House. Election 2024 now less than 1 month away, and tonight what appears to be a new strategy for the Harris campaign. The vice president trying to win over voters with what her campaign is calling a media blitz, from podcasts to late night and new programs in between. The interviews come amid criticism from the Trump campaign that Harris hasn't had to answer hard questions. To counter that, the Democratic nominee appeared last night on CBS's 60 Minutes, facing some tough questions, including on her ideas for the economy.
My plan, Bill, if you don't mind, my plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
And joining us now is CBN News Chief Political Analyst David Brody. David, so Harris was pressed several times in that 60 Minutes interview, there on the economy, but also on the southern border and Israel. What did you make of the interview?
Well, 2 words come to mind, or is this 1 word? No, train wreck, I think is 2 words, I believe. It was really bad, Jenna. I mean, it wasn't just that clip, but immigration, he continued to press her, and she just didn't have any answers. The Israel answer was a bunch of word salad that no one quite, still to this day, in the last 24 hours, no one quite understands it. She was fact-checked about all of her flip-flops, and then Bill Whitaker from CBS literally started listing a bunch of stuff. Like, you could have done a full screen. The whole thing was just really, really bad.
So today, Harris appeared on The View, and she made news, David, when she said that she would not do anything differently than President Biden. What's the strategy for her campaign and getting her out there to do all of these interviews, David? And are they helping or hurting Harris?
Well, I can tell you this much, Jenna. The strategy was not to say that. That's like one of the worst things you could ever say. I wouldn't do anything differently? Really? Inflation, the economy, immigration, crime, Afghanistan? I mean, look, that was bad. Look, the strategy should be to create a narrative that she is strong on policy, she's smart, she's tough, she's a fighter, all of that. So she's not delivering any deliverables, and that's the problem. If you're going to do these interviews, and most of them they're all softballs except for 60 Minutes. She's going to do the Howard Stern show and some others, Stephen Colbert. If you're going to do that, if you think hope and joy and vibes is going to get you through, I think they originally thought that. That's not going to work anymore. These have been disasters. She has to provide more meat on the bone. And that should have been the campaign strategy, and they've given folks nothing of the sort.
So former President Trump, he returned to Butler, Pennsylvania over the weekend. David, his opening line was, "As I was saying," the crowd seemed to love that. Your thoughts on the rally, and what's your sense of Western Pennsylvania? Can Trump drive up numbers in places like Butler to win the overall state?
Well, it was a great opening line. More than that, he had 3 different songs sung by an opera singer, all spiritual in nature. How Great Thou Art, Hallelujah, and Ave Maria. I mean, it was just a wild scene. But beyond all of that, in terms of Western Pennsylvania, this is about an election that's going to be one at the margins. Western PA is more Trump country, but especially Butler County, PA. He's got to drive up the numbers there. He won by about 65% or so in Butler County. He's got to get it up to 67, 68%. This is all about getting your base out, and that means either suppressing the one side or getting your base out on the other. That's why he was in Butler. We'll see how it shakes down on Election Day.
Okay, David, always good to see you. Thank you so much. And still ahead, an act of kindness with decades of meaning. Next on Faith Nation. Finally tonight, the return of a precious family heirloom, all thanks to the kindness of a stranger. Arizona handyman David Harding was inspecting a home when he stumbled upon a wedding cake topper. A note attached named the couple it belonged to and the date they said "I do," September 11th, 1954. The discovery struck Harding, who set out to find the owners, posting pictures of the antique on social media. The couple's granddaughter didn't realize she had left the heirloom behind in a move until she saw it on Facebook. Just a week later, she received the cake topper in the mail and thanked the Good Samaritan for his kindness. And we are going to leave it on that note tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a great evening, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.